What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about peptides. This is a huge buzzword that's been thrown around the past 6 months. And, half the time I get recognized in real life by fans. I'm getting asked, are peptides good? Are you on peptides? What peptides should I take? And people really treat them like they're some weird buzzword. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I've known about these things for many years, and I know the place that they have, and I know what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. So I'm just going to outline all of this now. My transformation and my ascension was pretty much very little to do with peptides. So we have the GLP-1 agonists, retatrutide, tirzepatide, and semaglutide. These are going to be very good for weight loss, but that's only because the average fat person has no willpower. The average fat person has very high hunger hormones, low willpower. They genuinely cannot stop themselves from eating. And so for this reason, I do believe that the GLP-1 agonists, especially retatrutide hitting all three different receptors, I suppose this is going to be pretty much the best thing there is for weight loss. But the thing is, for me personally, if I see a weight loss transformation, I'm never impressed, because it was pretty obvious. If you see a fat person, you know that if they stopped eating, they would end up looking lean. It's not impressive when it happens. It's like, okay, you put the fork down. Congratulations. But that's not to take away from the fact that at the end of the day, most people will not be able to curb the urge to eat, and most fat people will stay fat for life. And that is if they don't take GLP-1 agonists. So yes, peptides for weight loss, they're unmatched, completely unbeatable. Nothing lives up to stuff like retatrutide for weight loss. That being said, the other areas, when we talk about, the growth hormone secretagogue type peptides, pretty much all of them are going to be garbage. We don't see bodybuilders using them for a reason. We don't see any kind of advanced weight loss protocol using these to really any meaningful extent. Stuff like, all the ipamorelin, CJC DAC, all the GHRPs, all of this stuff is going to be pretty shit. It's going to cause quick downregulation and desensitization. It's not going to produce the same effect for a long period of time. It's not going to even have a drastic effect, especially if you already have decently high levels. You're probably only going to get maybe a quarter boost at most. And then IGF-1 LR3, again, bodybuilders don't use this, and the reason is because in practical application, we just do not see the muscle growth and bone growth outcomes. And some people say that this is due to the lack of the IGF-1 binding protein affinity, and I'm not sure if we're actually even 100% sure why this is the case, but we do know for sure that this simply isn't yielding the results that it should, based on the current literature we have on it. So I suppose it's probably just under-researched, and yeah, if we don't have people using this who actually are the ones that should be using these compounds if they work, that's very telling. The hard truth to swallow about peptides is that, honestly, the main reason they've boomed in the past 6 months is because people know they can make money out of them. Pretty much every single person you see on TikTok who is constantly telling you peptides are great, peptides did XYZ for me, if you go to their bio, they probably have a discount code for peptides, or they have like their own way of selling them, right? So that's how you know these guys obviously have some kind of agenda behind their claims. Realistically, these drugs are nothing special. The GLP-1 agonists are great at reducing appetite. All the other effects are mild at best. They're not gonna, create lipolysis and beta oxidation and speed up metabolism faster than anything else we already have, that's for sure. The only thing they excel in is reducing appetite. So if you can already put the fork down, they're useless. Now let's talk about GHKCU. People acting like this is some kind of holy grail for skin, which, completely tops everything else we have. Now don't get me wrong, it's good. It actually, is good at actually changing things on the gene level to, upregulate a lot of different collagen and elastin genes. And it is good for your skin, don't get me wrong. It is good for your skin, it is good for your hair, but it's not better than things we already have. Based on the studies we have, we still see the top performers being things like synthetic retinoids, microneedling. These are still the king for skin health, right? And GHKCU does have potential to maybe be as good or better, but we don't have the literature to support this being the case. And anecdotally, it's not going to be, I wouldn't say it's the case necessarily. Like, it's good to add to your stack, but it's not going to be the make or break. And when it comes to acne, it's not going to do anything for you. So yeah, if you have acne, don't worry about GHK copper at all. That's not going to do anything for you. Now, BPC 157 and TB 500, the healing peptides for healing injuries. These are going to be pretty much the holy grail for healing injuries. Yeah, you have like growth factors and androgens that can have some effect, but nothing stands up to these. So peptide-wise, the injury prevention and healing, yeah, they are very good at it. Now, the cognition peptides, Semax, Selank, nah, just no. Like, these are not going to excel in anything that some other compound can't do better. Like, if we're looking for increasing neurogenesis with Semax, increasing BDNF, there are so many better ways of doing this. We have ACD to be a positive allosteric modulator of the TRAC receptors. We have other peptides like cerebrolysin, which is actually very good, derived from pig brain tissue. We have low to moderate doses of psychedelics. We have TAC, which is a positive allosteric modulator of AMPA receptors. These are all going to be better bets than worrying about Semax for BDNF. And in terms of any kind of dopaminergic drive, obviously we have plenty of better options there, that's for sure. And then for Selank, Selank is usually used as an anti-anxiety. And again, we have many better options here. Like, I don't need to spell it out for you, but if you watch my alcohol anxiety video, that kind of spells it out there. Like, imagine actually going out of your way to inject something for the tiniest benefit compared to just taking something much easier and much more effective. I guess people will say like, oh, you don't build a dependency, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, like, look, there is some nuance here, but most of the reason that you don't build a dependency is because it's not really doing much for you. So there's nothing to become dependent on. That pretty much covers all the peptides that are being really raved about. Obviously, we have other things like MOTS-C for mitochondria. And again, it's good, but we already have a lot of over-the-counter and small molecules that are also great, coenzyme Q10, methylene blue, SLUPP332. All these things are already great for your mitochondria. And you can only take so many things for your mitochondria before you start overspinning and really causing more harm than good. One peptide that I do think is very good, and it does something that nothing else really does, is Melanotan 2. And this is if you're like a white person and you want to tan without really damaging your skin. Melanotan is basically your only option. Melanotan 1, Melanotan 2, they're both great options. Melanotan 2 is a little bit of a dirtier mechanism of action, but also stronger because it hits the other melanocortin receptors. Yeah, this is something I've started taking recently again. I haven't taken it in years. Getting a bit tan again, getting some sun exposure. Melanotan 2 is a great peptide, but obviously not everyone is going to need it. Some people are already tan, not everyone is even white. So yeah, for that specific niche circumstance where you're very pale and you want to get more tan, Melanotan 2 is really unbeatable. But yeah, in conclusion, peptides have their place for certain things. They are very good for reducing appetite, for tanning, and for healing and preventing injuries. But they're really going to be lackluster when it comes to bone growth and muscle growth. And they certainly don't excel as much as is purported when it comes to improving cognition and improving skin and mitochondria. There are definitely equal or better options in these cases. I'm someone who's been in the biohacking sphere for a long time now. Obviously, I have a pretty impressive transformation, which is what I'm known for. And if you want to actually know, like, how to do shit properly and not just, focused on this peptide buzzword bullshit that everyone is getting involved in, then consider joining my course. I tell people what you actually need to be doing and taking in order to optimize bone growth, muscle growth, height growth, cognition. Like, I know how to actually do shit properly. Maximizing mitochondria, fat loss, every mechanism completely optimized and maxed out. And none of this peptide bullshit where you take some CJC DAC and you think you're going to become the next fucking Robert Wadlow. Okay, anyway, that sums it up. If that interests you, that'll be in the description. You can also hit me up for private coaching if you have a more advanced inquiry for me. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed, and please stop asking me about peptides now.